What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial Waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really does help out our channel. And you can even join through YouTube membership and over on Patreon. Again, join button is down below and the Patreon link too. Yesterday, we did have a new member on YouTube, Nathan Pine. Thank you very much for joining us. And we also had Mariana Seeger and Lisa Bunny Bear. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to me, and I just cannot express how much. But never any pressure to do so. I had some people in the comments saying yesterday they would love to support, but they can't because they're, financially tied right now. And there's never any pressure to do so. Please never put yourself at risk for me. Whilst it is absolutely lovely, you taking the time out of your day to be here is way more than enough, and I cannot thank you enough for that. So thank you very much, and let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for kicking my son out of my house after he cancelled my job interview? Please hear me out first. I'm a single mum, 45, of a 20-year-old son, Chris. Chris is in college. He studies engineering. Being a single mum at a young age was not easy for me, despite everything I've been through. Despite my own family giving up on me, I made sure my son got the life he deserves. He was and is my everything. I worked several jobs that were different from each other. I was able to own a home after years of renting, and more importantly, I was able to provide Chris with an opportunity for education. Recently, Chris moved back in with me because he no longer could pay rent. His next semester is starting soon, and he's been talking to me about the possibility of selling my house and buying a house in the city, where he studies, so he will no longer pay rent, and said that it would be better to move. I declined for several reasons. 1. Grew up here. My old friends live here. 2. The city is expensive. 3. This home means a lot. It represents my hard work and sacrifices. Chris didn't like that. He threw a fit and kept bringing it up, trying to convince me to do it. Last week he kept pressuring me. I told him that I found a potential job at a company and it was an opportunity because I had been looking for 3 months. He took as in I don't want to move because of my new job, but it's not true. Yesterday, I found out that he contacted the company and cancelled my interview and then deleted my email. I use a computer and it's in the office, so he gets access to it. He told me he wanted to check his college website for some reason, and I thought nothing of it. That was the night before. I found out yesterday morning that someone cancelled my interview. I confronted Chris about it. First he denied, then he said the company wasn't what I deserved anyway, and I can find a better position when we move to the city. I was so mad at him for ruining this for me and pressuring me into moving, leaving me no choice. I felt as if he was trying to sell the house from under me after he said he found a potential buyer and just wanted to make things go smoothly, and all I have to do is say yes. I yelled at him and argued with him, telling him that he was an adult and should manage his own issues. Told him to get a job but not expect me to turn my life upside down for him. He yelled back saying I was selfish, and I ended up kicking him out of the house. His aunt knew and was yelling at me for what I did, saying I was treating him poorly and he was hurt by me. Just to clarify, his aunt is my sister, so doesn't have children of her own. And Chris considers her as a second mother to him. She's always defending him no matter the reason. He hasn't left town yet and she wants me to call him. I need to mention that this is not how he is normally. I have no idea what's going on, but he was constantly talking about it and was insisting so much it got me upset and worried, honestly. Now, I'm going to jump in with a bit of a reach-in comment here. And I know it's reaching because we don't have the details in front of us, right? We know Chris had to move back in because he couldn't pay his rent. And, his next semester was starting soon. And then he starts talking about the possibility of selling the house. That's a sort of alarm bells ringing because we don't know why. Why is he asking to sell the house? And it may be just for that selfish reason where it says he no longer wants to pay rent and it's closer to where he studies. It may be that, right? But is there more? Is he trying to run from someone? Is he, using drugs and he's got himself deep into something? And I know that's a reaching statement. Don't get on my back about that. And I'm not excusing it. Definitely not the arsehole in this situation because whichever way it is, he's manipulating OP, right? So there's no excuse for that. So, and I'm not just glossing over that he cancelled someone's interview as well, which is crazy behavior. Don't get me wrong. I'm not glossing over that because it is all crazy. and I would definitely be really concerned if she is going to take him back in. But even if he does move back in with you, he still needs to pay rent. I mean, when I was 17, when I got my first job, I was paying rent to my parents. I mean, it wasn't a whole lot. I think it was like £200 a month or something, but it did teach me the value of money and saving and all that kind of stuff, which clearly I'm not sure Chris totally understands at the moment from his behavior. So yeah, not the arsehole. But Hudflow says, not the arsehole, he is 20. Legally, your house is under your name. He's doing shady things like that around your house, then he is being shady in general. When it comes to family, it is difficult to do anything negative, but he needs to learn about consequences. Make him pay rent, a normal rate, no discount. If he wants internet, then he needs to pay for it. Lock your computer, and if he complains, then give him $10 and tell him to go to a library. Now for the aunt. Tell her that you needed the job, and if they don't listen to both sides of the story, then they can fuck off. Edit. Obligatory largest comment I have. Thing to add. A legitimate roommate agreement that can save your life if he tries to bring up anything legal. Proof of attendance and proof of a full-time job. Why can't he afford rent anymore? Background checks before both of these are signed. Edit 2, so I'm not advocating for him to move in again, but if OP allows it, then there should be rules, and as of now, she has nothing that she can sue him for. There was no property damage, nor was there any defamation. And the Mirror's Truth says, not the arsehole, if you accept him in your home again, charge him rent. He's being extremely ungrateful and entitled. It's none of his aunt's business and your son needed the reality check. And the Dog Chick 1985 says, not the arsehole, your son is a user. He wants to use mummy's money to buy himself a house in an area he wants to live in without having to lift a damn finger. Pay any money out of his own pocket or do any of the work. This move benefits him only. In his fantasy land, he doesn't have to pay rent, he doesn't have to work, he doesn't have to commute. He can just depend on mummy to pay all his bills, buy his dream home and go to college with no worries. He destroyed your job prospects and you may not be able to get an interview again because of this type of interference. Looks really bad and will be difficult to explain to an employer. Your son is delusional if he thinks he has any entitlement to use your money and the sale of your house for his own personal gain. He deserved a reality check and to be removed from the home. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you take the son back? Would you allow him back and charge him rent? Or would you go down a different route? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Seems a lot of people getting thrown out today. Am I the arsehole for kicking my half-brother out when he was handing guest invitations at my wife's funeral? My male 39 wife of 6 years passed away from BC 3 weeks ago. I'm assuming BC is breast cancer. I'm not 100% sure. I tried looking it up, so apologies if I got that wrong. It's devastating and I'm barely holding it together. I used to sleep either at hospital or my dad and stepmom's house. He supported me at the time, and I also have a 29-year-old half-brother. My brother's wedding is in 3 months. When I came from the hospital and sat and cried, he brought up the wedding planning with his mum and talked about the venue/menu and ignored me. He made backhanded comments. I can't imagine this happening to my fiance. Saying I'm not doing enough, constantly comparing me to him and how he would have done more. I stopped going. I'd rather sit alone in an empty house than listen to him. At the funeral, he came with my stepmom. His phone didn't stop ringing. Everyone noticed. Then later, when the guests were sitting inside the house, he kept asking about certain relatives to see if they came. I was with my dad at the time. Once the guests started leaving, I saw my brother standing by the door, handing guests envelopes, then shaking their hands, then they walked out. Didn't know what he was handing them. I walked up to him and asked him. He showed me invitations for his wedding that he was handing out to guests. I was stunned. I asked if he was serious. He said there's some relatives' families that live out of town who came to the funeral, so he wanted to do an actual hand delivery from his hand to theirs, saying mailing invitations didn't feel proper. I lashed out at him and he said no one noticed, so it was no big deal. He just wanted to make sure everyone got an invitation since the whole family was there. I was so mad. No wonder the guests gave me weird looks before walking out. What's worse, that my wife's family saw this and were upset. I felt awful and embarrassed. I was infuriated. I yelled at him and told him to leave immediately. My dad and stepmom and others got involved, but he left after I insisted. My dad berated him and said this is how he is, being insensitive. My mum said that I shouldn't have kicked him out in front of everyone, her side of the family, and disrespecting the family. She said no one was noticing and that he thought this was an opportunity for him to make sure they know about his wedding. I argued with her and other family members for hours about it. My dad's side of the family said they were upset because of what he did, and my stepmom's side of the family were upset. I kicked them out. My stepmom is now contacting me to get me to go and talk to my brother and get right with him. To add, my stepmom never sees anything wrong with my brother's behaviour. No matter what he does, she always tries to defend him either directly or indirectly. Dad isn't doing a damn thing about it. The bit that really got to me, I know the whole story is pretty crappy, but the fact that when he got caught handing out these envelopes and you approached him about it and he said no one noticed, apart the grieving spouse is there, man. Why am I stood up? I'm getting cross here. And this is just, this kind of behaviour I don't think I would ever be able to forgive. For someone to be so thoughtless and, you know, have no empathy whatsoever, I couldn't forgive that. And I'd cut a lot of the people who's backing him, well, I'd cut all of them who's backing him out of your life, man, because they are some toxic people. And if you ever do get to hear this, I'm so sorry for your loss and you're having to deal with these assholes at the same time. But a goddess Violet says, not the arsehole. Who in their right mind thinks handing out wedding invitations during a funeral is okay? That's the most insensitive thing I've heard of. And what's wrong with mailing the invitations? I've known many people to send them through the mail and have received them in the mail myself. It's so commonplace. I'm so sorry your own brother did this to you. An outrageous text 4914 says, not the arsehole, your brother is selfish and unsympathetic, and your wife deserved to have an undisrupted service. I'm so sorry for your loss and wish you the best. ETA, if anyone embarrassed your family, it was your brother, not you. And Aqua Regis says, not the arsehole, having his phone on alone settles it for me. The rest is even worse. And Copper Rabbit says, since when is it a grieving spouse? No one. I bet everyone was keeping quiet. They understood you were the one protected and or were confused if the serious breach had your okay. I guess you need to hear this. Your stepmom and brother are toxic. I think it's telling you referred to him with a half qualifier instead of brother with the same parent info. You don't have to call him family at all. Toxic families always go after the one with good boundaries, never the offender, not the arsehole. An unregistered insanity says, not the arsehole, I'd get hold of his better half and ask her if she's okay with him handing out their invitations at your wife's funeral. Now, what would you do in this situation? Obviously, you probably would kick them outright because it's the right thing to do, but would you ever be able to reconcile with these people? Do you think there's a way past it, or do you think, no, this is time to cut those ties? Let us know in the comments below. And our next story is from Am I the Arsehole Birthday Issue. Am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend he ruined my birthday? It was my birthday today. I took the day off work and wanted to spend it doing things I wanted to do. I wanted to watch a movie I've been wanting to watch, but my boyfriend doesn't want to. I was going to order lunch from my favourite restaurant that he won't eat at because he doesn't trust places that aren't a chain, and I wanted to just relax. I basically just wanted to do things I wanted without listening to him complain about it. Well, he decided to surprise me by taking the day off too. He took over my whole day. Instead of watching the movie I wanted, he insisted on watching the riots because they are part of our history. When I left the room, he followed me. I said I didn't want to hear about this on my birthday, but he just kept talking about it and trying to make me watch it with him. Then instead of getting the lunch I wanted, he threw a fit and ordered from another place that I don't like. I was angry at that point, and he was acting like he did me this great favour by showing up and doing all this stuff I didn't want to do. I decided I wasn't going to let him ruin anything else, so I ordered dinner from my favourite restaurant. He started talking about dinner and I said I already ordered from the restaurant I wanted, and he started fussing at me about how it should be a place we both like. I said, oh really, is that why he ordered lunch from a place I don't like and watched things I repeatedly said I didn't want to watch? He said it wasn't the same thing, and I said it was exactly the same thing, and what he actually meant to say was, it should only be things he likes. He tried to make it out like I was being ungrateful, that he took the day off and I should be happy he bothered to take a vacation day for my birthday. I lost my temper completely then. I said I never asked him to take the day off. In fact, I'd been looking forward to a day where I could do things I wanted to do and not the things he wanted to do, because we always did what he wanted. I said I wasn't grateful he took the day. He completely ruined my day by making it all about what he wanted to do instead of giving me my own damn birthday to do what I wanted and not what he wanted. My food came shortly after, so I locked myself in my bedroom to eat and watch my movie. And he's complaining outside my door about how I ruined the whole day. My sister says he's being a controlling arsewife, but he seems to think I'm being the arsehole here. Edit, to address the questions of why I'm with him. He was my first real serious relationship, and I don't know if I really saw the red flags for what they were. At first, I thought he's just assertive, but now I think my sister is right, and he's just controlling. In the beginning, it wasn't like this really, but it's definitely gotten worse over time. And we're going to head straight to the comments with this one, as we've always seen a little sample of it, with Fragrant Cricket 1 saying, "Not the arsehole, he always gets to do what he wants, even on your birthday. And when you call him out, acts like a child and plays the victim, your sister's right, he sounds unbearable." Not So Smart Chick says, "Not the arsehole, love yourself enough to leave him." Festering Nose Olive says, "First of all, happy birthday, we're birthday buddies. Secondly, your sister is right, he does seem like a controlling arsewipe. I'm sorry, if he can't even give you your birthday to do what you want, maybe it's time to throw the whole man away. Edit, judgment, not the arsehole." And Alert Potato says, "Not the arsehole, your sister is absolutely correct here. It's your birthday and you should have been able to do what you wanted, eat where you wanted, and no one else gets an opinion. Yesterday was my birthday. Hubs took the day off work because I requested it. He didn't roll his eyes at me wearing a tiara, although he usually would because I'm a bit more extra than he's comfortable with in public. We went to an Avery because it's what I wanted to do. We took the train because I didn't want to drive. While there, the hub said we could watch whatever birds I wanted to for as long as I wanted to because I was in charge for the day. We went where I wanted to go for dinner. I hope that one day you will also find someone who will treat you like a princess for your birthday and let you drive the day. Even if that means you just want to chill at home alone and eat something your partner doesn't like. Happy birthday. It's okay to take a do-over birthday if you want to. Don't tell him." And Action A Go-Go Baby says, "Not the arsehole. 1. Unwilling to hear anyone else's opinion. Check. 2. Unwavering belief in their superior choices. Check. 3. Aggression directed towards anyone who challenged them. Check. Your boyfriend is a narcissist, and a frickin' big one at that. I would suggest reevaluating your choice, throwing your lot in with this man. Now, how would you deal with this man? If you was with him, do you think there is a way past it? Do you think she needs to separate from him? Do you think he is controlling? Let us know what you think in the comments below." And our next story is from a throwaway account. "Would I be the arsehole for reporting a co-worker to HR for trying to feed me?" Oh god. I, 24 male, am a small man. 5'4" and 103 pounds as of my past physical. I'm well aware I'm at an unhealthy weight. My entire life I've been small, mostly due to illness and myriad allergies, and it's admittedly a sore spot. I'm working with my doctor to gain weight while still fitting with my dietary restrictions. No meat, dairy, gluten or nuts, and honestly I'm so much better than I was several months ago. I'm proud of myself for all the progress I've made. A co-worker, Peg, 30 female, got pregnant and recently returned to work late November. She's been increasingly overt and uncomfortable in her concern for me. Peg made and brought in cupcakes for her return, and when I thanked her for thinking of us but refused, citing my gluten allergy, she was visibly upset. She didn't shout or complain much, just sighed heavily and said she would put this one in the break room with the rest. I felt awful. Then she brought me a steak sandwich the next day on gluten-free bread. Again I thanked her, but I brought in my own lunch and needed to focus on that. Peg told me it was in the fridge for when I finished. Ended up bringing it home so she wouldn't feel bad and gave it to my boyfriend. Next day she approached again. I refused again, she insisted. By now we weren't alone in the break room. She joked that it was rude to refuse a home-cooked meal in favour of that, my lunch. At that point I took it and thanked her. Boyfriend ended up eating it. Then she started leaving bagged snacks on my desk. She would approach with a snack or a portion of whatever she made for dinner the night before, and not leave me be until I had taken it. I went to our boss and explained I felt uncomfortable and was told that she was probably feeling maternal and it would negatively impact morale to discourage her. So, been taking notes since then. What days Peg has given what, when, who witnessed it, etc. From 12th of the 8th to now, she's done it 23 times. Yesterday, I took Peg aside and explained that while I was touched, I would appreciate if she wouldn't bring in anything else. She said I should have said something sooner, that she was only trying to help. Have I seen myself in the mirror? Does your boyfriend like you starving yourself? Among other phrases. Livid, I told her that maybe I didn't feel like sharing my personal medical history with her, just so that my wishes were respected. For God's sake, we work with a hospital, don't you know anything about HIPAA? We parted from there, me childishly storming off and her in tears. Have I already been a huge arse, and would a report to HR just be the icing on the arse cake? Arse cake. No, I'm afraid she was a huge ass in this situation. I mean, how many times do you have to tell someone? And you're working in a hospital with HIPAA and all that sort of stuff too. But another part that got me in this is that your boss failed you massively here. They could have stepped in this situation. Well, they should have stepped in as soon as you said something about it, but they didn't. They gave them an excuse and let them carry on. So they enabled them. The fact that you had to make a log of this and you logged 23 times she's tried this is absolutely insane behavior to me. But Trania86 says not the arsehole. Even if she stops now, you can tell HR that you had a discussion with her and you do not require action at this moment, but you want to put this on record. Consider this. What if she complains to HR about hostile work environment? Make sure your side of the story is on record somewhere. And quotes, I went to our boss and explained that I felt uncomfortable and was told that she was probably feeling maternal and it would negatively impact morale to discourage her. And then says, can I just say that this boss is a huge asshat. Your coworker is clueless and annoying, but your boss should have taken action here. They just didn't want to deal with it, so your complaint wasn't properly addressed. She's the biggest asshole in all of this. Edit, boss is a woman, not a man. Thanks to those that pointed it out. And Fish and Whistle says, you weren't childishly storming off, you were leaving after setting appropriate boundary, not the arsehole. And the Mirror's Truth says, not the arsehole. Yes, you might have just told her to stop at the beginning without giving your medical history, but she likely wouldn't have listened. I was a reporter and your boss. Boss should have stepped in the moment you asked. Recal says, not the arsehole, but hear me out. I think you should bring this up to HR primarily to report how your boss handled, or in this case, did not handle the issue. You can say that you think you and your coworker have resolved the situation and hope there'll be no further incidents to report, but that you want to provide the documented evidence just in case, as well as express your frustration that you were essentially told your discomfort does not matter because the offending party is pregnant. And Sarah Whippety says, not the arsehole, go to HR, she's harassing you and inserting herself in your private life and your health problems. I'd low-key keep a lookout for work elsewhere, as your boss telling you to suck it up for team morale is kind of a red flag, in terms of work culture. I hope that your HR takes you seriously, unlike your boss. Report it in writing with evidence. Now, what do you guys think of this story? That's a crazy one, 23 times they were told. Wow, what would you do in that situation? Let us know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed today's stories. And if you have, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too if you are enjoying the content. And of course, you can join the channel to support even further if you choose to do so. As I said before, I had some people in the comments yesterday saying that they can't afford it right now, but they would love to. Please never ever feel any pressure. You just being here is way more than enough. And I can't ask for any more than that. Thank you so much for doing you, and I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys.